welcome back to another episode of Doug and Drivers. This is the third season that we've done these, but I think it's the first time that we've gotten to speak with this guy, Nolan Siegel. Nolan, welcome to Doug and Drivers.
Thank you.
Excited to have you here. This is going to run sometime in March, so the season will have started. But I want to go back to last year. What a crazy year last year was. And I'm going to start with maybe a painful moment, but one of the moments where I think all of a sudden you stepped up and people noticed you. That last qualifying attempt to make the Indianapolis 500 last year, you laid it all on the line. And I don't know if you expected the response that you'd get at the end of that run. It didn't end the way you wanted, but people went crazy for the effort.
Yeah, it was a tough experience, right? Like that was one of the hardest weeks of my life for sure. But yeah, I mean, in the moment, it's the Indy 500.
Yep.
Like you have no choice but to try, right? So no, I definitely didn't expect the response, and it was really nice to, the IndyCar community is great, and it was just very, very nice to, receive the support that I received after that, and certainly unexpected, but something good did come out of it. I learned a huge amount, and I can't wait to go back.
So one of the things I think you literally said when you got done is you were either going to qualify, or if you didn't, it wasn't going to be because you lifted. And I hear people often talk about the speedway being intimidating, and I've heard people say, I literally have to take my left foot and put it on my right foot to keep from lifting. Did you literally not lift?
I did not. I think I hit the wall and spun, and I was flat until I came to a stop. But it was tough, right? It was going to be tough no matter what. And the run I did before that was already like on the edge, and then we pulled a bunch of downforce off of it and, tried again, because what else are you going to do? And I wouldn't have forgiven myself if I had, missed the race because I didn't try hard enough, So in my mind, that was the only option.
Well, and I think that's probably the reason people just really embraced that. Is like, here's a young kid, never done this before, but clearly knows what making the Indianapolis 500 means. And you probably had no idea at that point how crazy your season was going to get, right? So you get to go back to Indy next. You're going to run the Indy next series, and Road America comes along. What a crazy weekend that must have been for a young guy to go, okay, what do I do here? I'm in the middle of a championship fight, yet I have this opportunity to do something even bigger.
Yeah, those really, 2 months felt like 2 years. Yeah, going to Road America, I thought I was going to be racing Indy next for the rest of the season, and that was that. Obviously, that changed. I was on track, pitted in practice one in Indy next, and I signed the contract to drive the Indy car with my gloves on, sitting in the race car, strapped in during the practice session. So I don't know if anyone's ever done that before, but wild experience. Again, learned a lot, and it was tough. But grateful for it, So, yes, it was insane.
And then maybe something crazier happens. You start wearing papaya. You get a call, I assume, from a Tony Kanaan or somebody like that says, hey, you interested in coming over here? That has to be completely surreal to get an opportunity to put that papaya on, represent that brand that means so much, and then have a mentor like Tony Kanaan who's kind of walking alongside you as you get ready for the 2025 season.
Yeah, it all started. I met Tony for the first time at the 500.
Yep.
He was, gracious enough to come and help and offer some insight. I think he kind of knew what I was going through. So I met him there. Great guy, and we stayed in touch. And then I went to Le Mans and drove for United Autosport with Zach. So Zach Brown was there the whole time, and got to chat with him. And it was after Le Mans that he said, hey, instead of going home, why don't you go to Indianapolis for a day and sit in the Indy car and race the Laguna? So that was quite a week as well. So really just a sequence of pretty insane weeks.
You've packed a lifelong journey inside of a year. So now 2025 comes around. It's a brand new day. You get a chance to focus on a full season. You know where you're going to be. You're settled. What are your goals for 2025?
The goal for 2025 is, it's to win races and be on the podium and be a contender in IndyCar. I think that's why we're all here, and that's the expectation of the team. obviously it's extremely competitive, and it's a really challenging race series to win in, as we've seen with, you know, the number of different winners and how few people win multiple races a year, right? But I think the goal is to be one of the top contenders in the series, and that's certainly the expectation from Arrow McLaren.
So you have kind of a wild teammate, maybe one of our most popular, if not the most popular driver we have. Have you gotten to spend much time with Pato yet?
I have spent a lot of time with Pato. Yeah, I was just at his house for the blizzard, which was a great time. He's a good cook. So yes, we've spent a lot of time together, and we've had a good time. So I'm excited to continue working with him, and not only is he a fast driver, but you know, he's a fun person to spend time with. So it's always good when your coworkers are people that you enjoy spending time with.
Absolutely. So one last question for you. So this is running sometime in March. We're getting ready. Thermal, a bunch of things coming up. We've probably gotten through St. Pete at this point in time. A lot of things as we lead into Indianapolis, Long Beach. We've got Barber, but then you get to the Sancio Grand Prix at Indianapolis, the road course. And then you should get to come back to the oval. So those first few laps on the oval in May, will you be able to put behind you what happened last May and focus just on this May? Or is there going to be a little bit of you that's just got to get through those corners a few times and then say, okay, it's done, I can focus on what I'm doing now? What's the mindset?
Yeah, you know, I think it's going to be a very different experience. You know, being full-time in IndyCar, being with Arrow McLaren, it's going to be a different month, right, than it was last year. I don't think it'll be an issue getting past it. You know, I did ROP, I'm good to go, we'll get right out there and get going. I think no matter what, the first time you go flat through turn one at Indy, you know, for the year is probably quite nerve-wracking, even for veterans. Right. But no, I don't think we'll have any issue, and you know, I feel very prepared for it. So I think it'll be much easier than it was last year, and I have a lot of knowledge now that I didn't have last year that will theoretically help me quite a bit.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. You know, I get to write notes to drivers at the end of the season or the end of the 500, and the one that I wrote to him basically said, you really don't see people's character when they win. You see it when they struggle, and this guy clearly had the character, the way he embraced that moment, the way you fans embrace that moment. Can't wait to see Nolan Siegel qualify for this year's Indianapolis 500 and see if he can not only be Rookie of the Year, but maybe he can put his face on the Borg Warner Trophy in 2025.